All right, so this is gonna be a very different video. I don't normally do these walking and talking stuff, but we got a lot to talk about. Yeah, so I'm still in California by the time you're watching this. And so recently I was invited to Fujifilm Eterna, the VIP event here in Hollywood, which was pretty awesome. Saw a lot of my friends, YouTube friends I've been talking for a couple years. And I got to meet a lot more of the Fujifilm staff who I've been working with over the past year. Also, sorry if I'm gonna sound like I'm out of breath. Slightly walking up a hill to get to a better location. So here we are making this video. I'm just going to share with you all what information I know from the event and kind of help shape the understanding and expectation of the Fujifilm Eterna, because there's a lot of questions still just around the GFX system in general. I'm coming from a GFX 102. That's been my experience using it for film. Man, this is hard. Let me get to the spot, hold on. Well, I thought it was going to get easier. That's a big old hill. I just need a table. Get me a table. Okay, here we go. So this is all new territory to me. There's a hill behind me, but I found this ledge so I can kind of get through some of this video. I'm making this video to answer a lot of you all's questions, to kind of clear the air on what to be expected of this camera and what's still in development. We still don't know everything. Fujifilm is pretty tight-lipped, as they should be, because it is their very first production camera that they're releasing to this market. So it's a lot of exciting things, and I'm here for it. So let's actually just jump into the first one. What's the pricing? As of right now, we don't know what the pricing is. They haven't officially announced it. There is speculation what it might be, what the ballpark might be, but honestly, yeah, we just don't know. So that's been the main question. That's what everybody's worrying about. Some things I guess you can consider: it is a fully fleshed out production camera. It has a G-mount, very large sensor. It will come with its own PL adapter for it. It will come with a new monitor system for it, and the top panel, which has power zoom and control for the ND as well. So that being considered, and you know where this is going to land, my guess is going to be around the $15,000 mark for this camera, which is reasonable in my opinion, and a lot of other people's opinions who are thinking about the same number. But who knows? There hasn't been anything official yet. The second thing is, people notice, why isn't there any XLR ports? And to be honest, I mean, I don't know. I don't really think that's a deal breaker in my opinion, just because a lot of cameras in this space don't have XLR ports, like the Red Komodo doesn't have it, or the Sony Venice. You know, it's not a deal breaker in my opinion. Some cameras do, some cameras don't. You have a 3.5mm jack, so you can just add an A-box, as well as the top panel. You can add the Tascam audio adapter to get audio out of that too. So there's that option. Another question I was getting a lot is, what's the sharpness and what's the image look like? So when we were there at the event, we weren't allowed to take any real footage off the camera, obviously, because it's still in the pre-production developing phase. But I will say that being a GFX 102 owner, and the fact that this is essentially the same sensor, but they are beefing it up, and we'll get to that a little bit later. Sharpness and modern day cameras are really all similar in my opinion. Like, some are more detailed, some are more digitally sharp, but the lens will really dictate how that's gonna look in my opinion, and plus whatever filters they have in front of the sensor itself. I know that's not like a direct answer, because I don't have a direct answer just yet, but this wasn't a testing phase. This was like a showcase. Hey, we want to invite you all out. Here's what's coming to the camera. Here are the new updates, stuff like that. So we won't get a tangible field test with it until later this year when they have actual functioning units. Most of the units were just picture only. The menu system though is very much different from the still system, which is great. But yeah, if you are wondering what the image might possibly look like, just head over to my playlist below. I'm using the GFX for a couple projects right now, and I've shot a couple videos on this channel, so you can get an idea of what that looks like. I don't really like this spot. Let's move. This is looking milky for no reason. Y'all, I normally make these videos in my barn or in a secluded area. Doing this in public is always so sketch for me. But yeah, so the two main themes I took away from the event that they really pushed was anamorphic and resolution options, the full sensor, which is freaking amazing, 4:3 medium format sensor that you get to utilize, and then color. I think the term that they're using was color memory, and that's a lot to unpack, but essentially they are leaning into the color science that this camera can deliver, that they're looking for a feeling. That means you can, for the most part, there's going to be options for the film simulations that Fujifilm is known for, Hold on, wait for this truck. They're really pushing the concept of the film simulations in this camera. Now, how that's going to be delivered and utilized in this camera, we don't know yet. They had a DP up there, I forget his name, but he did a fantastic job with the image of this camera, and he was elated of how the image looked. Yeah, so Fujifilm is really gung-ho, as they should be, on the color that this camera can deliver. F-Log2C is phenomenal. The color fidelity and richness and the tonality that you get from this is something that I've enjoyed, and I'm not a colorist at all. So I can actually see the difference in how the colors separate certain tones that are very close to each other. Eventually, I need to do a proper video of how that actually looks, but it's so hard to explain and show. But I do need to actually make a video about how F-Log2C differs from F-Log2, because that was one of the telltale updates that Fujifilm put out earlier this year of how they're going to really focus on color, as they should, because everybody loves the RE look. I think everybody's going to start loving the Fujifilm look in the cinema space again. Okay, dynamic range, the same dynamic range as the current GFX 102. So you're looking at around 12 to 13 stops of dynamic range, more than usable in a lot of use cases if you know what you're doing. Another big question was rolling shutter. Of course, everybody's worrying about that. Now, coming from a GFX 102, the rolling shutter is there, but again, this is a massive sensor. This is bigger than full frame, so it can only do so much. But good news, they are improving it. There's no real stat on it just yet. However, when we got to use it in person, moving the camera around, not like a crazy person though, but like just the simple pans, you didn't see much jello in the 4:3 mode, which was incredible. So they are improving it, and it's good to see that. Okay, another question that kept coming up is, will this have RAW? And at the moment, we don't know. I don't know. It has a similar codecs already to the GFX, which is internal ProRes 422 HQ is the highest you can get. There is external B-roll out of this camera for the GFX 102, so I'm assuming it's the same thing for the Eterna at the moment, but we don't have any other information out of that. ProRes is just fine. Anything more than that, I'll take it. But as long as it has the basis what I need already, I'm good. Another big thing that they're talking about is resolution options and anamorphic. This is the tallest large format sensor at 4:3. It's not the same width as the 65 or anything like that, but it is taller than a 65 sensor. This is going to be made for large format anamorphic. Like, that's going to be so dope. To be honest, it's going to look so good in so many different use cases. And I love the idea of being able to have this big resolution, this big sensor to really niche down and customize and shape to how you want to create. And that's one of the benefits of using a large format sensor, is that you can go big and go all the way down to small. Something that was surprising to me about this camera that they mentioned, they kept throwing around Super 35. And I'm like, do they mean like 35 mil film or Super 35, like APS-C? It's APS-C. I confirmed that with Matt, another Fujifilm rep. But you're gonna go from Super 35, so APS-C, all the way up to large format. That is insane how much you can downscale. Now, I don't know much of all the technical stuff, how they're gonna get that. And there is, what's that term, line skipping? Whatever that might look like, I'm curious what they're gonna do. But having that much flexibility from Super 35 all the way up to large format is pretty insane. Do you think this would be a good doc and narrative? And I'm gonna add commercial camera in there. On paper, yes. Right now we can only go off of paper, but yes, this camera is gonna check a lot of the boxes for a lot of people. And the extra benefit that this is a much larger sensor than full frame. Some people say it's not that large, but there is a difference, especially with the type of lenses that you use. Now, until we get in our hands and we're using it through its paces and we check the reliability, what bugs are gonna come up, cameras like this compared to the Sonys, the Aries, the Reds, you need that track record. So there's a lot of eyes on this camera and how it's going to perform in the real world. So until I get my hands on it and put it through its paces, I really can't say whether or not it is, but on paper it will be. It stacks up to a lot of cameras that are out there already, plus the benefit of a bigger sensor. So we'll have to see when it finally comes out. There is internal ND, 2 to 7 stops, and you can change them in 0.1 increments, which is great. Now, they did not explain how they're achieving the full height and width of the 4.3 sensor in this camera. And the benefit of it is that now you can have a plethora of native resolutions that you can get from using anamorphic lenses, like from 133, 1.5, 1.65, 1.8, 2, and you can have various formats that you can film out of this camera because the native sensor, and you can be at that. Now there's not a lot of lenses that cover that, so I'm assuming there's going to be different resolution crop options to achieve. So 3.2 and 6.5 and things like that you can get out of this camera. So that is very exciting to me. And a lot of people who are lens snobs, this camera honestly is for the lens snob, the person that loves optics, that you can utilize different characteristics, you can see more than what the lens sees, you can use different types of anamorphic styles, you can do so much with this that it's going to be a filmmaker's playground who understands optics and how the relationship works with different sensor sizes. Hopefully that helped with some questions that you all had. But what do I think and how I'm going to use this camera? Now, I will be getting my hands on this camera at some point this year. They're planning to release this camera in 2025, which I think is very ambitious but very exciting at the same time. So I'm excited for a couple of reasons. Like I was just mentioning, I am a lens snob. I love testing out different lenses because that is the paintbrush to my canvas. And to make things stand out from a story perspective, that's one way, but also the way it looks. And so I love experimenting with different lenses. So a camera like the GFX Eterna, like the GFX 102, that really excites me because I get to play with and experiment with different types of looks. The second thing I'm excited for is the color fidelity, color tonality, and richness. That's what F-Log 2C really does deliver, and I see it on a day-to-day basis. I'm using it right now. And I'm not a colorist, but being able to understand and see the difference in that and see the color separation from just really small tones, that's what matters a lot, because I think that's what makes ARRI so good, because of the color and tonality separation, the girthiness of that file. Same thing with red. So Fujifilm is definitely going to put itself in that category. Same thing with Blackmagic. Sometimes I think Blackmagic can get a little muddy, but but anyway, that's here or there. So very excited for that. And then just, I've been using Fujifilm cameras almost going on for 4 years now within a video context. So I've been using it for commercials, I've been using it for docs, I've been using it for everyday content creation. So I've been ingrained into this system, and I've always said I've wanted a production camera out of the X-H2S and that body style, because it's a fantastic sensor, it's fast, it has a dynamic range, but the limitation is that it's a hybrid system. And now Fujifilm is answering that for me. Yeah, stay tuned. I am making a lot more GFX content. So if you want to see what the capabilities of the Eterna will be, the GFX is a great starting place for that. And I think the GFX 102 in relation to the Eterna is going to be a nice B cam if you're within those two systems, because they're going to have the same mount, fairly similar resolutions. Because right now, out of all the GFX cameras that Fujifilm offers, none of them compare to what the GFX 102 can do. I say that too because I'm currently using the GFX 100S2 with the GFX 102, these names, and it's quite limiting because I don't have the same specs in that camera as I have in the GFX 102. So I know a lot of you are asking me, should you pick up that camera? But if you're doing this for video, pick up the 102, not the 100S2, because that one's more geared towards photo. The 102 is the flagship for photo and video, which I absolutely enjoy using. Okay, y'all, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below if I missed anything. Let's get this conversation going, and stick around because there will be more content around this camera, the Eterna, as well as my current camera, the GFX 102. And I hope we can all, but aside from all the camera gear, I hope you're making great projects, great stories, and just doing great work out there. All right, y'all, I'll catch you on the next one. See ya.